The kelp forests of the Pacific Republic had never seen a campaign like it. For centuries, the throne of the Coral Citadel had been passed down through the gilded, somewhat inbred lines of the royal Triton family. The elections were a mere formality, a chance for the populace to cheer as King Zale III was ceremoniously reanointed with luminescent plankton. But this year was different. This year, there was Coralia. Coralia was no blue-blooded aristocrat. She was a mermaid from the rugged, mineral-rich trenches of the Midnight Zone. She hadn't been groomed for politics. She'd earned her stripes, or rather, her scales as a community organizer. Famous for rallying the common dolphin pods and disenfranchised lanternfish to clean up the great Eastern garbage patch. She had a voice that could calm a rogue wave and a tail fin of such vibrant, shifting cerulean that it seemed to capture the very soul of the ocean. Her campaign slogan was simple, bold, and plastered on every strategically placed nautilus shell and drifting jellyfish. A voice for the currents, not the coral castle. Her opponent, the incumbent King Zale III, was a merman whose beard was woven with pearls and whose trident was so heavily jeweled he could barely lift it. His campaign, managed by a shrewd old octopus named Orson, was one of fear and tradition. Stability, Zale would boom, his voice amplified by conch shell speakers. Progress is a dangerous undercurrent. This trench dweller would have us trading our ancient pearls for what? Solar power. He'd scoff, a stream of bubbles erupting from his lips. The first ever presidential debate was held in the neutral territory of the giant clam arena. Zale arrived on a chariot, pulled by two reluctant seahorses. Coralia swam in alone. King Zale speaks of stability. Coralia began, her voice clear and resonant without any amplification. He calls the leaking oil rigs on the surface a minor inconvenience. He calls the acidification of our waters a natural cycle. Tell me, is it stable when the scallop beds your families have farmed for generations are now dissolving? Is it stable when the song of the humpback whales is drowned out by the constant drone of shipping? Tankers, the crowd of thousands, anglerfish, mantis, swordfish, and garden variety goldfish, swayed in agreement, their bioluminescence flickering like a sea of anxious fireflies. Zale adjusted his crown. The surface world is not our concern. We have survived their follies for millennia by staying deep, by staying true to our ways. And what are our ways? Coralia shot back, her tail flicking impatiently. Is it our way to ignore the suffering of the bleached coral? Is it our way to let the royal guard harry the humble squid from their breeding grounds to make room for another ornamental garden? Our way is community. Our way is adaptation. We are the ocean. We are the very definition of flow and change. She unveiled her policies, the Kelp New Deal, a massive project to reforest the barren seabeds with carbon sequestering kelp. The Siren Network, a system of trained dolphin messengers to create an underwater communication web, free from the royal conch shell monopoly. She even proposed diplomatic envoys to the notoriously isolationist giant squid conglomerate, King. Zale's campaign resorted to dirty tricks. Orson the octopus had his ink-squirting minions create murky smokescreens during Coralia's rallies. They spread rumors that Coralia's plans for thermal vent energy would cook the krill. They even photoshopped, a difficult task underwater, an image of her shaking hands with a fisherman. But the currents were turning. Coralia's message was too powerful. She didn't just give speeches. She listened. She'd swim right into a struggling pufferfish village and ask about their housing crisis. She'd consult with ancient sea turtles on historical migration patterns. She made every creature, from the largest blue whale to the tiniest copepod, feel seen. Election day arrived. The voting was done by swimming through one of two grand arches, one of woven gold seaweed for King Zale and one of living, glowing coral for Coralia. The entire ocean seemed to hold its breath. Creatures came in numbers never seen before, vast. Schools of sardines, usually prey, moved as one shimmering silver river through the coral arch. The octopus community, despite Orson's influence, largely defected, their complex brains appreciating Coralia's detailed policy points. Even a grumpy old lobster, who hadn't voted in a century, clicked his way through the coral arch, muttering about needing a change. When the final count was tallied by the ancient and impartial League of Leopard Seals, the result was undeniable. The ocean had spoken. Coralia had won. She didn't ascend to a throne. On her inauguration day, held in the open water above the Mariana Trench, she had the royal trident melted down and reforged into a simple, functional stylus. She placed a crown of common sea fern on her head. "My fellow citizens of the deep," she began, as a whale song echoed in the distance, a sound of hope. "For too long, we have believed our world was vast and immutable. We have learned it is fragile, interconnected, and begging for a steward. We will not hide from the world above, but we will demand its respect. We will not cling to the ways of the past if they no longer serve our future." She looked out at the immense, diverse assembly before her, the great and the small, the luminous and the plain, the predator and the prey, all united. "The tide has turned," Coralia said, a determined smile on her face. "Now, let's get to work." And for the first time in a long time, the underwater world felt not like a kingdom, but like a nation, ready to swim forward into a new, uncharted current. The end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.